It was a crisp morning in New York City when Meghan Markle stepped into the studio of Jon Stewart's late-night show. Cameras were rolling, crew members bustling, and the air was thick with anticipation. This was supposed to be a friendly interview. Light-hearted questions about Meghan's new charitable projects and her recent appearances. But behind her composed smile, Meghan carried tension. Jon Stewart, the veteran host, had a reputation for humor mixed with blunt honesty. He had interviewed some of the most powerful people in the world, and he didn't shy away from uncomfortable questions. Meghan, on the other hand, had faced relentless media scrutiny for years. She was prepared, but something told her this interview might not go as planned. As the cameras started rolling, Jon's first question was casual. "Meghan, welcome. It's great to have you here. Tell us, how have you been adjusting to life outside of royal duties?" Meghan responded with grace, highlighting her charity work, her efforts in mental health advocacy, and her focus on personal projects. But Jon's next question struck a nerve. "There's been a lot of criticism about how you and Prince Harry are handling public appearances. Some say it's attention-seeking. How do you respond?" The studio went silent for a moment. Meghan's smile stiffened, and Jon noticed the shift in her demeanor. The tension between professional politeness and personal frustration was visible. Meghan chose her words carefully, asserting that every decision she made was with purpose, not publicity. Jon, sensing the rising tension, leaned forward. "But some critics say that stepping away from royal duties while taking high-profile media engagements sends mixed messages. Isn't that risky?" Meghan's eyes flashed for a second, a small crack in her composed exterior. The audience could feel the electricity in the air. Meghan paused, took a deep breath, and calmly but firmly stated her perspective. Yet the undercurrent of conflict was undeniable. The stage manager signaled to Jon that they were running out of time. The next question, however, was where the line blurred between curiosity and confrontation. Jon's tone sharpened slightly, almost challenging. "Let me ask it straight, do you think some of your media strategies have backfired?" The pause was heavy. Meghan's jaw tightened. The crew could feel the heat rising. This wasn't the interview she expected. And in that tense moment, both host and guest realized that what was supposed to be a routine conversation was turning into a confrontation. As the cameras rolled live, Jon pressed further. "Meghan, you've faced criticism for everything from your wardrobe to your public statements. Some say you've created an image that overshadows the causes you're championing. How do you handle that?" Meghan, now visibly frustrated, leaned forward. "I handle it the same way I always have, by focusing on meaningful work, not opinions that don't define me." Jon raised an eyebrow, smirking slightly. "But don't you think there's a responsibility to manage the narrative? People notice everything, Meghan. You're not just anyone on the street." The tone had shifted. What had started as a friendly interview had evolved into a verbal sparring match. Meghan's composure was tested. She responded sharply, "I understand that, Jon, but constantly judging me for the choices I make publicly only distracts from the causes I'm trying to amplify. If that bothers you, maybe the question should be about the work, not me personally." Jon, a master of witty but cutting remarks, leaned closer. "Fair enough, but if the audience is watching, they might wonder, are your actions consistent with your intentions?" Meghan's patience snapped. She stood up abruptly, her chair scraping against the studio floor. "I think this conversation has taken a turn I'm not comfortable with," she said firmly. The studio gasped. Crew members whispered frantically, but the cameras kept rolling. Jon, taken aback, tried to regain control. "Meghan, let's keep this civil." "No," Meghan interrupted. "I'm done. I won't continue being questioned in a way that undermines my work." The audience sat in stunned silence. The tension was palpable. Meghan gathered her things and walked toward the exit. Studio staff tried to intervene, but Meghan had made her decision. By the time the episode wrapped, word had spread online. Clips of Meghan standing up and leaving the interview had gone viral within hours. Social media exploded with debates, memes, and speculation. Was she unprofessional? Or had she finally reached a breaking point? Jon Stewart addressed the situation briefly off-air, expressing regret that the interview ended abruptly, but insisting that tough questions were part of his approach. Meanwhile, Meghan released a statement. "I respect every interviewer, But I will not participate in discussions that shift the focus from meaningful work to personal scrutiny. My mission remains unchanged: to advocate for those whose voices need amplification. Analysts dissected every moment. PR experts argued about whether Meghan's exit would affect her public image. Fans praised her courage for standing up to what they saw as unfair questioning. Critics accused her of overreacting. The story dominated headlines for days. Late-night shows referenced it. News channels replayed the confrontation, and online forums exploded with opinions. Yet beneath the spectacle, the narrative was clear. Meghan Markle had taken control of the story. She refused to allow a single interview to define her legacy. Jon Stewart had been challenged, and for once, the balance of power in a celebrity interview had shifted unexpectedly. By the end of the week, everyone in media knew one truth. This wasn't just a heated argument, it was a turning point in how Meghan Markle navigates public scrutiny, reminding the world that some lines cannot be crossed, even on live television.